Welcome to another day of chess class, and today we'll be going over the London system, which starts out with d4, d5, bishop f4, knight f6, e3, e6, knight d2, b5, c3, knight c6, knight g to f3, bishop d7, bishop d3. So the general setup of the London system is to get a pawn pyramid like this, where it's playing c3 and e3. Then the knights are going to go to d2 and f3. The bishops go to d3 and f4. Mainly the bishops should go to f4 because you don't want to lock in the bishop by putting it on d2. Instead, the bishop is simply way more active if you put it out the pawn chain. So that's a crucial detail. And the play goes from here. Like knight e5 is a really crucial idea that every player should know. Knight e5, and then there's some ideas with queen f3, queen h5, and you could possibly attack with h4 and g4, which we'll dive into some theory which goes over those lines. The accelerated London system starts out with d4, d5, bishop to f4, knight to f6, e3, 6, knight 3, bishop 6, and bishop to g3. So you wouldn't want to take the bishop on d6, even though the computer says, oh, you should take queen takes d6. There's no reason to allow the queen on d6. Instead, if you drop the bishop back, takes, even though you have double pawns, you gain the h file, which could be useful down the line. If black thinks to castle that way, you could possibly play. You have to do some bishop g3 or queen d3 stuff and target h7, then h6, and you could go from there. You could White has some solid chances on the h file. So castle, bishop d3, c5, putting the flank pawn and counterattacking, putting the flank pawn in the center and counterattacking the center. c3, finishing up the pawn pyramid, knight c6, knight d2, b6, and the very crucial knight to e5. This knight is simply well placed on this square. And bishop after bishop b7, you're gonna put your pawn on f4, and the knight is gonna be thrusted onto that square. So let's say bishop takes e5, and white plays f takes e5, knight to e8, queen h5, threatening checkmate. f5, you can en passant, knight takes, queen h3, attack in d6. Before you play bishop to c8, bishop to h4. These bishops are complete lasers. It's an absolutely amazing position from here. And now 52, you can castle, and this is just a completely winning position for white. White's pieces are superior to black's. These bishops are amazing. This rook is on the f file, and this queen is about to get into the action. This is a very good position for white if black were to take the knight. See, but most people are not going to take the knight. And if they take with the knight, that's just a fork. That's just horrible. That's just a horrible mistake. Now, computer says knight d7, and then you can just wrap between the f3, knight f5, bishop f2, take, pawn takes, bishop b7, castles, and the play goes from here. Second line we'll be going over is a mirror image line I found in Chessbook. Starts out with d4, d5, bishop f4, bishop f5, e3, e6, knight f3, knight f6, maintaining complete symmetry, bishop d3, takes, bishop d6, and queen to b5 wins the pawn on b7. Knight b7, you can take, and then take the pawn, or alternatively, white can play queen takes b7 directly after rook b8, attacking the queen, queen takes c7, rook takes b2, bishop d6, cd6, castles, rook c2, and white has a passer that is an a pawn, but the computer says it's completely equal. And after knight e5, there's rook c8, knight b5, and black has counterplay like knight e4, rook fc1, and black can castle, and this is a pretty equal position. Now, continuing on the main line, c takes d6, queen takes b2, b7, rook b8, rook takes e7, rook takes, castles, rook c2, knight to a3, rook to c8, knight b5. The knight is basically trapped. That's why knight takes d6 is a mistake. The third and final line we'll be going over today is the Jababa London. Starts out with d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4, e6, and we play knight to b5, threatening knight takes c7, which would fork the king on e8 and the rook on a8, which is a similar idea to the fried liver, where the knights are on g5 and the bishop's on c4 in an e4, e5 type of line, where knight takes f7 would fork the queen and the rook. So black plays knight e6, we can play e3, and black can continue with bishop e7 or c6. So let's just say c6. We obviously can't go to c7 since that would blunder knight. We go back, queen b6, and very interesting pitfall. a3, black can't take the pawn. Simply the queen is trapped, and it's GG. We'll have to sack the bishop. Queen takes. c3. This is absolutely a beautiful position for white. Since black's knight is on the side, black has just lost several tempos with the queen, and white is simply going to play queen c1 after b5, knight c5, and holy moly, this knight is absolutely amazingly placed. Queen to b6, and that is a blunder. So a3, they will often play c5 instead, which is the correct move, counterattacking in the center, bringing the c-pawn into the action. Now we actually have the defender pawn, e1, bishop e7, knight f3, and generally all the lines here have amazing win rates for white. The ideas of the Jababa London system are that you can swing the knight on f3 and put it to e5. The bishop will often take the knight on a6. White will castle on the king side. The knight on c3 will swing over to a4, and the queen will go to f3. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and you guys can have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.